That's all, Kostas. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So thank you, Georgios. This event, as I repeat, belongs to all of us, not to me, not to Georgios. We should contribute. We should see this as a joint project. So feel free to introduce the ideas. The first talk, it comes as a contribution talk from Dr. Tomaz Aljaz. I'm very bad in pronouncing, his surname. He's a very good friend of the Department of Electronics and Engineering here in Hania. He has participated in various events and in various Erasmus and international weeks that we organize here in the department. His talk, he's going to speak, he's going to provide principles how to manage projects using a specific theory of constraint principles. He has a PhD from the University of Maribor, the best university according to academic statistics in Slovenia. He has a great experience from the market. So whatever he's going to transfer to us is something that is taught all within the classrooms of the university classrooms, but also comes as a fruitful result of his working experience. So I think that is very useful for all of the academics. All of us, we run projects, and we know that we run our projects very bad because we're academics. So the floor is to Tomaz. He's going to share his screen with me. He's opposite to me. I will call Tomaz to wear his fantastic mask, but anyhow. So the floor is to Tomaz. Tomaz, please start your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is my famous mask, which I got this week. So do you like it? Okay, Kostas, can you do the?
I have my microphone off.
Speaker. No, I can hear myself.
It comes from your.
Okay. Just
take out your. I will say all the participants to mute.
Is it better now?
All the speakers.
One, two, three. Can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. Super. Now it's better. Yeah. As always, technology. Okay. So you hear me now. Everything is okay. Yeah. So I will talk about managing projects with some approach which is not so very more familiar, and it's called theory and constraints. But before to go to that, just short introduction. So my name is Tomaz. I currently work in Spar as an IT project manager, where I'm also Scrum Master, and I do then teaching in Faculty of Industrial Engineering Novo Mesto, and I feel teaching like also one of my hobbies because I have a full-time employee job in Spar, and then one of the hobbies are also teaching hiking, cycling, traveling. I like to travel a lot. I have a family with 2 daughters. Now they're already 18 and 20 years. This week I learned that with my wife we selected quite good names because they are Nika and Thea. So I think Nika is goddess, Thea is Titan. So it's good. I have done also some certification on agile way of managing projects or products is better to say. Is I'm a certified Scrum Master and certified Scrum Product Owner, and I have done also certification of theory of constraints. Education I have done University in Maribor, and especially this theory constraint I have done in Washington State University. And this is also somehow wrap up of this talk. So before we begin, Slovenia is here. If you can see on the screen, it's quite far from here, but not so much. We have borders with never done.
Sorry, our presenter demonstrates some problems with technical problems. So we try to refix his, to reboot his computer. So just be a little bit patient with us. It's something that we cannot control. These things happens in live situations.
Never happened.
I'm going to transfer his presentation to my computer because I think that his computer faces some issues. Just give us 5 more minutes. Sorry about this.
Yeah, sorry for this.
I don't know, you're making your microphone sound. There, your screen, it's in your camera.
Yeah. Okay, hi.
Make it full.
It's full.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, sorry for this interruption. Usually we have this Dr. Watson in the area of Windows 3.1. Now he's just smiling and crash computer. Okay. Let's continue. We can have, let's skip this due to the time constraint, which with my computer, but let's go now to the project management. What are the project management basic things which we need to know, and what is the project? So we all know that the project is something which is very temporary. It has defined start, and we define the timeline and the end date when this should put or the product or the service or some results into the live operation. So this means that we need to take care of the scope, the budget, and the timeline of this. But let's see what are the different approaches to manage the projects. Traditionally, we have this waterfall approach, which was defined almost 100 years in the second industrial revolution. When we started with gathering the requirements, then we moved to design phase. When we prepare the specification, we move it to the development, then development start working, and then we are testing. Then tester finds the bugs or something misconception, then goes back to the development, and so forth until it's finished. But on the other hand, the trend, which is now in past few years very intensive, this is agile way of working, which is pure different things. You start with some basic requirements because at the end you are not sure what you will get. So this is the major thing. In the waterfall, you define in the end the budget, scope, and everything. In the agile, this is very difficult to do. It's more or less evolutionary path through the evolution of the product or even the project until the money runs out. But the main thing is that we are interactively doing requirements, design, development, testing, and based on the feedback from the market, we are adjusting the scope of the project or activity. So these are really two different ways how to manage project, and you see also from the management point of view how to manage the people, and also the internal way of working is much more different. In waterfall, you see you have more or less these silos. Business will define the requirements, then some business analysts write it, then we will write the specification, then you have another silos is development, another silos is the test. In Agile world, we have everything as a one team who is developing everything. And at the end of each interaction, they should deliver working solution. In the software, we say that it's a working software after every development phase. But I would like to put your attention on this Sci-Cafe framework. Why I'm showing you this? Because I want to tell you, to show you that there is no single solution for the managing the projects. So Sci-Cafe framework is defined into the 4 areas: obvious, complicated, complex, and chaotic environment. So you can see from these names or from these titles of these quadrants, you see that there is much different way how to approach to tackle the issues or the problems which you have in this environment. So in obvious quadrant, so this is top right, this means that you are doing best practices. So you are their best practices. No, you're just applying it into your environment. So this means that in this environment, you can really manage 100 or more people without any problem. If you move to complicated quadrant, this means that you are having some good practices. And this is the area where this critical chain project management, which we will talk today, will take place. Then it's complex. This is more agile way of working. So here are the emergent practices. Here you have, we say, 2 pizza team. So this means from 8 to 10, 12 people, this is maximum which you have together. And here is really the representative of this environment is this agile way of working. And the left bottom quadrant is chaotic environment. This usually we have some few people, 2, 3, which are like crisis managers. And those crisis managers solve the crisis, make the company successful, and then go out of the company and go to another challenge. So you can see that you can differentiate your solution based on the environment where you are. So you can think about it. Where is your company or your environment? Is it in the obvious, complicated, complex, or chaotic environment? So we will now speak more about this good practice, which is called this critical chain project management. So the framework of project management based on theory constraints. So when we have unstable or unclear requirements, we only know the direction and how to deliver it also we are not sure, then we know that Agile is optimized for that way. If you have everything known in front, then you are this bottom chart. This means that you can use the waterfall. And somewhere here in this yellow, this is our area where we will use our critical chain project management. So don't think that waterfall is scrap, so that it's not used for anything. Still used. If you know the clear goal, clear requirements, you can just do it. You don't need to go with the agile way of approach. Because these new approaches really need to change how the company are working, especially if you are now traditional company and now you are moving to the agile way of working. This is not easy to do because you need to change the mindset, change the culture of the company in order to move in that way. So what we know about our projects? Projects are usually late. They have too many changes. Often they are over the budget, lots of rework, many priority battles. Me as a project manager, I always need to fight for some people, even that the boss has told me, yes, you have it. But then when I want or I need it in the project because I was in delay or other project was in delay, I don't have it. And usually we need to jeopardize scope for the cost or the schedule. So in order to meet the deadline, then we need to do the magic in between. Usually we need to reduce the functionalities which are in. It's also very nice report. This is called Chaos Report, which is really chaos. This is the study of 50,000 software development projects around the world. There are also new studies from 2016, 17, 18, and 19, but this one is freely available just to see it. And give us good indication how successful are our projects in the IT environment, especially in the software. So this means that more or less 1/3 or even 1/5 of all the projects were successful. So successful means that they are on time, on budget, and on scope. But we see that all others are somehow challenged or failed. So failed means that they didn't meet the expectation of the goals of the project, or the project was finished too late and then was never used. Challenged means that our budget or scope or timeline was somehow not achieved. So this is the reality. Then if we zoom into these results, hopefully you can see it. We see that then also this chaos report differentiate agile and waterfall, but agile is more also taking care not like Scrum and also and this kind of stuff for pair programming and so on, but also taking out that you have this hybrid approach, that you have smaller interactions. And we see that improvement of success rate of this kind of project significantly increases when we move to this interactive way of working. Not just waterfall, specification, development, finish, but that really we work with the customer, we work with the business, we work with the ones who are providing us requirements. It's much bigger. And what is also seen that smaller the project you have, but this smaller means below $1 million because this is from the US. Larger projects are more than 10 million dollars, sorry. You see that smaller the project is, bigger success rate is, which is somehow understandable because you have shorter duration and you can much easier control the deliverables. What are the factors of success? When I first looked into this chart, I was quite amused about this or astonished what is really the main success story. It's not the technical skills, not the technical skills of the project manager. You can see then that for the project manager, only 5% contributes to overall results. But the main results or success factor is that we have executive sponsorship. So our bosses really support the project. Emotional maturity, that we know how to work together now in this world when race, color of the skin, everything now needs to put together, that you don't have any kind of bad things about that, and user involvement. So this means executive sponsorship, emotional maturity, and user involvement. These three are the most important factors to have it a successful project. Okay, let's move now to the critical chain project management approach. So we all know that our project, we need to trim or to have a balance between the quality and scope, timing and schedule, and budget and costs. So this is the chair with the 3 legs, if you can imagine it, and it's on the ball. And if you want to improve the quality, then other stuff goes down. If you need to improve the budget, then usually if you reduce the budget, then the quality and timing and schedule is impacted and so on. So you as a project manager, you really need to balance everything that is going well. But the things which are really we are forgetting when we are building the schedule of the projects is the precedent structure. So what the dependencies, interdependencies, resources evolved, how we should structure the project activities. Then the second bumpy road is statistical variation of the tasks which we are doing, and of course human behavior. So we will now touch all these 3 topics, and this is basically the core of my presentation, how to address these 3 stuff. So we all know the projects are unique, dependent on pre-activities before. We know that mainly we have activities which we have never done it before. Maybe technology is new. This is especially in research and development environment. There are a lot of things that you never done before. We have high variability of the tasks. We have only the estimate, but you know it can go to left or to right. We have shared resources usually. We are running my project also with other projects, which can change the priority, and especially the project managers are valued by the scope, schedule, and costs. So graphical presentation is PERT and Gantt. Gantt view represents with the color, and the bar is how long it is, the duration. So how we should understand better the projects? It's very hard to examine the project if you go this reverse engineering or something like that, that you think about, that you will analyze post-mortem, because there are too many excuses, too many variability in the task, and basically you cannot really get to the ground. So it's much better to use the simulator. So if I ask you, what is 8 times 8? Probably it's a really simple question. But is it really 64? Let's imagine that if you have 8 plus minus 1, so this means that you multiply 8 plus minus 5 multiplied by 8 plus minus 1, you can get result between 49 and 81, and 64 is most likely the result of it. So you can see how much variability we could have with only with the 8 tasks, which we estimate for the 8 days, for example. But the thing is also that our tasks, which we are doing, are usually not the normal distribution, but they are more like this skewed distribution, as you see it now. An example how you can predict, or how you can have this, that this is true. You can now think about it, how much time it needed to come to the work, what is the least time, what is the most or the average time, and what is the worst case that you come to this, to the job. And you can see that you have a skewed distribution with the sum average or the average time to achieve it. So we will use here the one simulator, which is called Project Management Simulator. And we will a little bit play with it in order to show you the results of this simulation. But before we go to the simulation, I would like now to address a few things about human behavior. So if you're an engineer, I think more of us which are present here, we are engineers. So you have 16 days to do a 10-day project or 10-day activities. When you will start? Immediately, so today, or after 6 days, or after 10 days, because you know that probably if you focus, you will do it only in a few days, and maybe you will drink a lot of coffee, and then you can do it in that time. So this means that our effort, how we are working, first we see the task, okay, we see, okay, this I need to do. Then it goes to the sleeping mode. And then we have a peak of our activities. We call this a student syndrome. So we all know when we start studying for the exam. 1 month before the exam or a few days before the exam. And then usually a few days before the exam. And then when the exam, we have done it positively or negatively, then you say, oof, shit, if I could have only a few hours more, I'm sure I can pass the exam. And the problem is when we have this kind of environment in the working environment, this student effect, because everything is going to the due date, then the people who are in this modus are more or less all the time full. They need to do overtime and all they are on the pressure. And the problem of this, they think they are not productive. They think they are their blame to do it. But the issue is that because we didn't manage project portfolio to be scheduled correctly. And then we have another problem in our environment. So if you have again 16 days to complete the projects, in 10 days is your effort. If you finish in 14 days, will you tell your boss that you have finished 2 days before? or even better that you finish in 10 days or even 8 days, or maybe you're really lucky that you have done it in 6 days, not in 16 days. You will tell the boss that you have finished in 6 days or not. So the statistic shows that most people, so 3/4 of the people will report, they will not tell the boss, I have finished earlier. Because we all know, engineers always can type on the computer and do, oof, I'm busy. And then she show on the screen some part of the code, how they are thinking and how they are doing. So only 25% can do they are reporting that they finish earlier, or others are not. So this is Parkinson law. So work expands to the time which is available. So this is like going to the children. You said, okay, until lunchtime, you need to finish the room. I can bet that no child will come before 12 o'clock to tell you that it's not, that it's done already. So this is then our simulation. So I will run now the simulation. Just that you see it. This is the tool. It's not publicly available. So this is our simulation. When we normally run it of this, we have some deadlines. We see how they are prolonging due to different effects, and we are missing the deadline. So this means that we would like, in order to fit the deadline, we would like to extend the available time. So instead of that task, which is here 10 days, I will now just increase the confidence level to much higher. So first I have a project which took 70 days, but then I increase really the confidence level to have it more.
Can you please let me explain
what
are the different colors and what is this confidence?
Yeah, so the colors means the resource who is working on the task. So this means that the green needs to finish before the purple starts, purple needs to finish before the second start, and so on. All these arrows represent dependencies. And when we start working, so here we can start a very simple simulation. So the first one, the green has already finished his work. So now the next one can start. He's working, next one can start. So this is day by day simulation, how we are working. And so on, they are doing. I will now go into the end. Wow, yes, we finished in the timeline. So what I have done here, I have increased the confidence level. So this means that I put some buffer into the schedule, and not to report, I will do it in 10 days, but as usual, engineers said, okay, I need twice or the double the time. So this means I have increased my time from 10 to 22 days. And this means that my project from initial 70 days now increased to 155 days. And if I run now 100 simulations here, I got the results that on average 116 days will be done, but 89% of cases, project will be done on these 155 days. So yes, so I write contract with my boss that I will finish it in these 155 days. But then I add to this equation also error reporting. As we now discussed, this Parkinson law. I include student syndrome. Let's see what will happen now. So we see that now it's not anymore 155 days, but it's 169 days. So it's almost 170 days. So we see that it's just prolonging the duration of the task, and then all the dependencies, taking account also the human behavior, the student effect and Parkinson law, does not bring us quicker or more reliable to the final solution. So these are still problems. Let's go. Let's go to the other one. Multitasking. So I know Kostas here is really on the multitasking mode, but before we go to this one, let's start. I think you can you click it, or I should make it on the chat? Let's go to this one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I will put it into the chat. Participants, more chat. Okay. So this is very simple multitasking game. I will start it now and I will demonstrate you. So this is first a single execution. You need to go through this maze, this labyrinth. It's not so easy as it's in, so especially with the mouse. Okay, so this is first around, up. Go. Okay, so this I needed 18.7 seconds. Now I will do multitasking. It's so easy and complicated. I'm done it. So in first case, I use almost 12 seconds. Now for the second case, I use 32 seconds. So now you can try it yourself and give the results in chat how much time you needed to have it. And you can then type the result in the chat. So please do it because they are interesting results. It's not competition about who is faster, who is. Okay, Tina is doing 8.9, 10. Okay. Yeah, Yunan is 14.5, that is 34. Okay, next one. Who has done it also? Please try it. Anyone else? No? Yeah. No one else. Okay. Mircea. So what you can see from these results are the task to run was different from one to the other, or was just different way how you execute the task. You see that this is how differently manage, for example, the project. Are you doing single project or are you doing multiple project at the same time? If you're doing the single project, you can do it roughly 3 times faster than if you're doing multiple projects at the same time. So if you go even more drastically, this means that you can 3 times faster already introduce product to the market in the single modus, or if you are doing in this multitasking mode. And this is nothing about you change the technology, how you're working, nothing to change how you will develop the solution. It's just about how your people are managed by the management or the project management office. Because you are doing the same thing at the same time identically. No need to go to any new course, new training, and so on. This is just how you work. The same thing is also for my side. If I need to do some paperwork, some documents, some paper to publish, I do it in the evening because there is no interruptions. Children go to the bed. Okay, now they're a little bit older for that, but before they were younger, I was doing all the things at night. So what this means is this multitasking. Humans, we don't know how to multitask, but we know how we are doing task switching. So this means that our task, instead of, for example, here it takes 10 days, it takes how many days? Almost 30 days to finish. It's all about how you manage your activities, one by one, or at least to split it in the working day, or you will do it just jumping from one task to the other. And then after the day is finished, you discover that nothing is done. So let's see now our simulator again. So I will add action load to regional. So I will again error reporting to 75. I will do multitasking. I will do the students' confidence level. I will increase to 90%. So this means that people are sure that they will finish in this time. I will include the student syndrome. And let's run it. So before was 169. So now it's 180 days. Wow. So from 70-day project, we are 180 days. And we are still not sure that this is enough. Okay, so let's come now to the parts of the solution. So if you imagine that multitasking, what will happen if you have 3 projects at the same time? I have now 3 projects, identical projects, all 154 days long, all share the same resources. So they are more or less copy-paste. Everyone has different project manager. How many of this project will be on time? What do you think? Probably 0. Let's see now how it will go. I will just now run a little bit. How the simulation will run. Yes, we have done it. 450 days, around 350 to 400 days. Super. The management will be satisfied with these results. No, because this is only possible in theory or this simulation, because management will never accept this kind of delays. So this means what they will do, they will pressure to the people in order to have less, in order to do the overtime over the week, in order to meet at least the deadlines. And what you can also see, there's some task which was scheduled for 22 days, for example, due to the multitasking, jumping from one project to the other. It took, here in this example, around 130 days. There are some tasks even more. So what is the chances that requirements will not change instead of 1 month, you need to run 4 months or even 5 months of the activity. What are the chances that the requirements will not change? Again, very tough job to do. Okay, so what are now the elements of solution? Because I think we have only 10 minutes left. So I will now just play with the simulator in order to finish in the time frame. So what we can do as a first possible solution is, first, we need to identify who is our constraint in our portfolio of the project. So constraint means the resource, the person, the machine who is the most occupied throughout the so this portfolio of the projects. This is first step, identify the constraint. So I will here select the drum. This is resource X, and I need to schedule the resources. I need to schedule project based on this constraint resource. So you see the red has all the time needs to work. All others must adapt according to his space, his schedule. Okay, let's run this simulator. Again, 1000 runs. Let's see the result. What are the results? We see the first project will finish roughly in 200 days. So this, we have somehow survived. But then for the second and the third one, we come into the problems. Why? Because the variability of task execution of this red one already start impacting the second project. And this means that we didn't solve situation very much, but we were able to a little bit improve it. So we schedule based on the constraint resource. Okay, what are now the elements of this critical chain? So this means we see there is no sense or to intentionally schedule the conflicts because we are not doing anything good with that. We need to prioritize work. We need to stagger the release of the work. And the thing which critical chain project management brings is need to include the buffers. So what means the buffer? Buffer means instead of having safety in each individual task in our project plan, we will take all the estimates which have been done by the developers or the ones who execute into half, and half of them we will put as a buffer, and then we will put a due date here. So this means if every task will be delayed, it will immediately show us in a buffer. When the buffer is start consuming, we as a project managers, immediately we can see that the project can have a problem or the task who is running can have a problem, and we can react and recover if necessary. We can see that everything is more or less, the dependencies between the task is the same. So actual work is the same, just we shorten the duration and we put the buffer at the end as our semaphore or for our traffic light, how to manage it. So we have different buffers. It's a project buffer. We have so-called feeding buffer. So the feeding buffer is the buffer in order to feed the critical paths when we have critical path selected with the resources leveling. So what we will do now in our this original project, we will now do the buffers. So sorry, this is really in short. So you see that all the tasks are now shortened, but there are some buffers here, which will give us indication something is wrong or not. So we will select now the drum. And we have now the schedule done, and let's look now how everything will work. So every day we are checking our activities, and we ask people not how many percentage of the work has been done, but how many days are left. Because if you say the percentage, this means that you will get 90%, then you will get in few days 91.5%, then 22.3, and 40, 95, and 95.5, and so on, which doesn't give you any information. Otherwise, if you ask them, please give us how many days you need to finish, then it's much better. So here we are asking how many days you have. And you see now the green is now working, red one is working, but it's already consuming some buffer because the duration will be longer than this one. You see already some bad things happened in this one. So the buffers are consumed, also the project buffer, which me as a project manager can get very good indication on how the projects will be recovered, can be recovered, and so on. You see here is already consuming a lot of project buffer. So this means that me as a project manager, I need to react. I need to come to the people, to the bosses of these people, how we can recover. So this is how, in order to simplify to run, I will run now 1000 simulate and see what is happening. We have now much better, we have now 60%. These are only 10%. They are 245 days together. Before was 350. A little bit improved, but the solution is still not good because the confidence how we will run it or how we will achieve these deadlines are not yet. So what we need to do now, because we see that the constraint resource, which is red one, we don't have buffer between the projects. So we need to include the buffer in between. So again, I go to low to regional. I need to define the drum. I need to do the buffer. And I will add now 100%. So this means that intentionally I add additional time between the projects, run the projects, show. And now we see that we are 125 days. Here we are also quite good. And also we have around 50% confidence level here. And the last part of solution is also so-called buffer management. What means buffer management? This means that it could happen then that some person will work on one project or the other, and then depending how much buffer is consumed, you will get good indication where is priority. So for example, if the red one or the blue one has an option to work on project 2 or in project 1, but project 1 has a project buffer only 20% occupied. If project 2 has 80% project occupied, this means that the blue one will start working on the project 2. It's clear priority where you need to focus. If we include this buffer management also here, let's run it again, we get even better results. Yeah. So this is very in short. You have, I will share you the presentation. This is here. But in order to have really the hands-on experience how this can work, let's see this. So how to empty the bottle of the water. You can do it traditional way, just do it like that. Do it agile way. Everyone knows where to focus, how to do it. Now where is your constraint? You need just to blow a little bit inside. So it's up to you. You can do traditional way, you can do it agile way, or you can do it with some flavor of theory constraints where you know where is your constraint and to schedule according to this constraint. And you can see with this simple example, you can improve the results 4 times faster, just how you differently manage your people. So to conclude, you can see we can gain a lot, especially in the multi-project environment. For single project, we can do it around 20% more, but in the project portfolio, in multiple project environment, we can do it up to the 50% of reduction of the due date. So this is my last slide for this talk. So if anyone would like to visit Slovenia, here is some cheat sheet of Slovenian language. How to say good day, bye, bon appetit, hi, cheers, nice, please, thank you, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. So, but this was really not in my control, so we have a little bit buffer. Okay, Kostas, you're done.
Yeah, please, if you mute yourself, thank you very much, and you stop sharing your screen. Thank you very much, Thomas, for this nice talk. I think that you have briefly mentioned the fundamentals, mainly also of the time management, because I kept some notes, and I will say to the participants, based on your presentation, please avoid, in any case, the multitasking. I'm telling you this from my personal experience. It's something that will burn out you. And of course, you are not going to perform as good as you can. The other thing that I will keep is like a very important thing is like somehow to overestimate the time management, the time budget that you need for a project, because you mentioned about these buffers. And my question is the following, like how much time overestimation we should calculate during our project design, because the majority of us, we submit projects, we propose specific timelines. What is your suggestion as an expert on this? I mean, how much time, if we need, for example, initially we calculate 2 years or 1 month, let's say. I mean, what is a rule of thumb to use in order to overestimate a little bit for our sake, in order to predict and avoid, you know, delays? 20%, 10%. What is, you know, a rule of thumb that you will suggest us?
You give me really the Nostradamus question. So my experience was with the people. First, you need to know the people who you work with. You know, some of them will really be pessimistic, some will be too much optimistic. And if you're working with these people, or if you know them, then you can have your buffers, as I said. But these buffers, which I explained today, are really not the buffers which you are now asking me to do it, to explain you. Here is the idea that you establish environment with the people who are working on the project, that they are able to focus on the project. Not you as a boss, that you're coming, when your boss's boss is coming to you with a new task, then you said, oh guys, forget what we discussed last time. Now you need to do this one. The thing is, you need to bring the environment where you can focus. And then, as we said, if you said, for example, 10 days of work, we will shrink into 5. But then 2.5 days, we will put as a buffer at the end of the project. and we will protect this deadline. For your case, probably you need to discuss with them how optimistic or pessimistic are with these deadlines, and then you need to have a rule of the thumb to have it.
Okay, so this means that it's based on our experiences mainly, in order to make, you know, this buffer on our experiences regarding our collaborators and our partners, because of course we are in academia, we are working with in a very restricted environment. I mean, we don't have, you know, the luxury to select, you know, the best managers or the best performers. Actually, ourselves, we are not the best performers. Thank you very much. The other thing that I'm keeping is like, and I would like to say to the participants, you mentioned about the engineers always, not only the engineers, I will say, any of us, usually we used to say we're busy, but if you check out, everyone is busy. So in management and based on the time management principles, remove this busy tag. You know, the people, they don't mind if you are busy. The people, they mind if you perform well and if you bring the result. So busy tag is something that if someone is listening about busy, I'm busy and I'm busy, you know, it's not a good excuse. Everyone is using this excuse. Even all of us, we're busy. Try to be effective and bring the results. This is, at the end of the day, what doesn't matter. And, you know, at the end of the day, this is something that we are going to be evaluated. We will never be evaluated if we are busy or not busy. Everyone is busy. And the other thing that I would like to ask you is, like, in management, how do you engage, you know, not motivated people or your partners that they are not engaged?
Yeah, this is also not easy. If the people are not motivated, then it's really a problem. And usually my approach is that I don't hide behind my project management role, and I said, look, I'm project manager, you need to do it, please do it, fix it, and this is all. So usually my approach is that I come to him, even if we are speaking very openly with this person, I said, I know that you don't like too much this task, but of course you got it, I got it, so we need to finish it. So now it's just that we discuss to agree how we can commonly finish this task. So please tell me how I can help you in order that you finish this task and I can finish the project.
And this comes to one of your questions during the lecture, like when to engage in a project. My personal perspective, we should engage immediately. If you don't engage the problem and avoid to start the project, usually you skip from the challenge. And by skipping by challenge and by skipping a problem, the time passes and you will never solve it. So when you have a problem, try to engage and solve the problem from the beginning. Otherwise, you are going to lose all the time, the deadlines. And this is another important thing that you mentioned. When you have a deadline, you should do your best to respect this deadline. It's a mistake that we are doing to translate these deadlines for various reasons, from planning or by not engaging to the problem. This is what I would like to, from my point of view. I don't know if one of the or any of the participants, you should stop sharing the screen now, has any question to Tomaz. If you have any questions, you can type it on the chat, or you can switch on your microphone and you can ask it directly. So I cannot see, to be honest, any question. I think everyone, this is all another student syndrome. You know, when you're asking I think Melina would like to ask something.
I think I would like to ask something, Professor. Just a minute, please.
Professor is you, because I'm not a professor.
I would like to ask something, Professor, and congratulations for his presentation. If he means the research projects only, or everything as a project. Because we are scientists and researchers, so we are dealing with the projects. If he means also that somebody is only a participant of the project, or he is the responsible, and all this all this part that he has developed us is for someone of these two, for a participant or for the responsible of the person, because he has told us about the boss. So I think he means that everything is about the participant of a project. And all this, the results is about projects that have a budget very, very high, if I remember well. These are my questions, let's say, to Professor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I will try if I understood correctly the question. So one approach, especially in this research or unknown topics, my approach is always to start with some prototype. So this means that you should not start immediately writing specifications, then some development, whatever is this development. I would prefer to go with prototyping or concepts which you are immediately, that you get a feeling of the material, what is behind. And after you do this prototype or this concept, whatever it is the concept, it can be some physical product, or it can be some research topic that you are much more clever about this area. You take 2, 3, 4 weeks, not more, that you have this concept identified. And then it's much easier to schedule and plan activities, timeline, schedule budget for the other remaining activities. This would be my suggestion, and also this way I'm doing, or I'm trying to do mostly in our project. As soon as possible, get the prototype.
So it is a prototype project, a prototype work, always.
Yeah.
Not something that is common, let's say, that we can do it every time. It's something new, completely new.
Yeah, this is when you have really something new which you have never done it before.
Okay.
Then it's reasonable to do some prototype of the concept. It can be theoretical or some, as I said, some product. Then coming to the people, I know that at least in the universities or in this research area, it's we have these assistants who help us, or the students, candidates, PhD candidates, which help us to work. But we know it's the problem. If they get too many tasks or too dispersed tasks, then they can be lost in the priority and also to the schedule. So it's again about who is giving the task to them and who is, I call it the firewall, who will say, yes, this is the job for him or for her, because maybe he has already 3, 4 tasks already in the schedule and he cannot accept more. We all know from personal, if I have 2, 3, 4, 5 tasks, yes, I can bear with them. I even can remember it. But when I reach 10 tasks, 15 tasks, 20 tasks, 30 tasks, I got also some people who told me that they have 30, 40, 50 tasks on the backlog. Then it's basically, there is no priority. This is just who is screaming louder, this will work. And then you can come to the burnout situation and so on. And you need to protect yourself and you need to protect your people who are working with you for this effect. Some are more, they can accept this kind of challenge, but others not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I will say to Melina, from my personal perspective, that whatever Thomas has mentioned, these management principles applies to any projects. I think that, these project management principles, they apply to any project independent of the budget, independent of the nature, if it's a scientific one or it's for the market. I mean, even for the scientific ones, we have the deadlines, we have specific outputs to deliver. We should justify, these deliverables. We should collaborate with people. We should coordinate teams. We should coordinate different characters, the same things that have happened to the market. So I will say academia, And the market-oriented projects, you know, they are governed by the same principles as, you know, Thomas has mentioned. I don't think so that there is any difference on this from my perspective, from my experience. I will say that if we don't have any other question, we should finish this first Sci-Cafe colloquia talk on the frame of the Hellenic Mediterranean University in collaboration with Professor Kavoulakis. I would like to thank Thomas. I think that we learned a lot. We should prioritize our tasks. We should do very good time management. We should place these buffers, you know, between our tasks. I will say to you, avoid to make a lot of task switching during the day. It's better to focus in one or two tasks because it's like, you know, machine, you know, everything. If you are changing from one task to another, you are losing energy. Am I right, George? Because it's something that you are changing your momentum. The vector changes. So try to avoid this. Try to avoid, learn to say no. This is very important. I have to learn it a lot. Say no. Don't try to do everything. I know that the majority of us, we would like to do everything as best as we can, but it's a mistake that we are doing. And thank you very much to be here. I would like, you know, as we are, it's the first approach to introduce ourselves within the audience, to say who we are and from where are we coming from, but let's keep it for the next one. I will say, I would like to show also Thomas' new t-shirt. Comes from our university with our new logo from the International Relations Office. So if you provide a talk with us, a new t-shirt and a nice cup of coffee, like a cup and a hat, is waiting for you. So thank you very much to be here. As I told you, this presentation will be uploaded on our YouTube channel in the International Relations Office in Hellenic Mediterranean University. And we are looking forward to meeting you again in our next presentation. It will refer to European universities and the specific to Athena University, European University. We can examine ways how to collaborate with all of you, and probably you can propose your role on the frame of this new flagship from the European Union. So thank you very much. It was an honor, and see you next time. Bye-bye. From Hanya.
Bye-bye.